Today we're going to be talking about working mothers.
That's like the support framework. So great husband, great family, great support network. So I manage.
Okay, fantastic.
Somebody always say if other people's encouragement doesn't move you, the best motivation is the one you give yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Amazons.
Welcome to Amazons. Today we're going to be talking about working mothers. Mothers who contribute to the society financially. Mothers who juggle their careers with their first job of being a mother and also a wife. In 1848, 5 women sat down together to have tea. They decided to talk about things that bothered them. They were talking about how suppressed and oppressed they felt. And these 5 women decided that it was time to start the Women's Convention right. Prior to this, women could not vote. They could not even go near being a doctor or being a lawyer. They had no properties rights. The divorce law and the child law did not favor them. But after this, and today, women are in the forefront of every profession. In fact, they're into politics. There's nothing they cannot do. But has it been worth it? What have they had to give up as women to be working mothers? Aisha, Bimbo.
It's funny when we look back and we realize that at one point in time, women couldn't do anything. I'm glad I wasn't born in that age. I don't think I would have worked properly. But it's great that some people stood up and said, I will fight for the rights of others. And in Nigeria, in a country like this, where school fees are so expensive, so many other things are expensive, and we don't really have a middle class, it just falls on both the parents to make money, to keep the family going. Agreed, people suffer, and the people that suffer most in this situation are the children. Because I remember my growing up, my mother was there all the time. My mother made sure we went to school in the morning. My mother closed when we closed from school. That was it for work.
And she was working as well.
She was working, but as soon as we're done from lessons, which was 4 o'clock, my mother closes her shop, closes her office, she's home.
Working for women really is empowerment. There's nothing as empowering as knowing that you have something you're doing, and then at the end of the job, you get rewarded for it, that you have earned it, which is what working for women is. The greatest job for a woman is, raising the kids and taking care of the home. But that is by nature. This working for mothers is demanding, when you have to now combine it with being a mother, with being a wife, with being the carer for the home. It's a whole lot of empowerment for the woman to be in control of all this and still manage to come out, being herself, and also knowing that she's worth what she's earning from work.
Yeah. And Bimbo, do you think because women, we fought for the right, okay, to be able to do stuff because we felt that we were being oppressed? And we want to, well, we were. And, now we've gotten the right to do things that men do as well. But do you think, because you're a woman, do you think women should get extra privileges than men?
Well, as a woman, there are certain privileges that must be given. First and foremost, you're working, you get pregnant, there must be some sort of structure which exists in most workplaces for women who are pregnant. They know that they're going to go on leave to go and have their baby. You don't expect them to have it in the office. And you know that they need at least 2-3 months away from work after that. And they get paid while they're on leave. So yes, on that note, I believe they must have some concessions.
But wouldn't you say the men would say, well, you wanted to fight the right to leave home and come and work because you want to be part of everything?
No.
Then why should you feel that you should get extra privileges? Because if your child first falls sick, it's not usually the father who would leave work to go and stay with a child in the hospital? It's the mother. Don't you think that there might be some kind of resentment from the men? If you're, for example, if you're working on the same level with a man and then you keep having to take time off work because you're supposed to be quote unquote a working mother, don't you think, and you get paid the same amount of money, you know, as the man is getting as well, don't you think there might be some kind of resentment from the man that, you know, because you're a woman doesn't mean you shouldn't, you know, you have to take time off work every time, or you should expect extra or special treatment? Don't you think men would feel like that?
I think it depends on what you're bringing to the table. Your work.
The thing to consider here is the privileges the woman is getting are as a result of the demands of the family, of the demands of the home, of the demands of the children. She's
But
not
it's a choice. She chose to work.
It's not that easy. It's a choice she has made. It's a choice that she will have to stick to. It's a choice also for whoever the employer is to know that there is a choice for this woman for her work to be made easier for her because of the other demands of being a mother. A single woman will not be asking for the extra privilege to take a child to hospital.
Why?
A single woman, because
there's no child.
There's no child. A single, I'm saying a woman who is not married.
Not a single mother, a single... Okay.
A single woman that is
okay.
that does not have a child.
Okay.
Won't be taking time off to go and attend PTA, even though PTA is for both parents. But women are known to be more involved in these things than the men. So these are not
men.
extra
Let's not make this thing look like... I know men who go to the hospital when their children are sick. They will take time off from work to be with their child. I know men who go for every PTA meeting. I'm talking Nigerian men of today. I have friends that do that constantly. So it's both ways. In a sense, it's both ways. But what I'm saying is, as a woman, we know it's the woman that carries the pregnancy. It's a woman that brings forth the child. So in a workplace, she's not going to do it every year. It's not possible for a woman to have a baby every year. But when she is pregnant...
Some people do. Don't say
Not
that.
in the workplace. Not in the workplace. It would be impossible to do it in the workplace. But what I'm saying is, when you're there, you're working. If what you're bringing to the table matches anybody else in that position or is higher, then the privilege is a part of the work. We all go on leave. Men go on leave. It just has nothing to do with babies, but they do go on leave.
Yeah. But even these extra privileges, they don't come with extra pay. It's still the same pay, isn't it? It's still the same pay.
I think there's the maternity leave that you get, but I'm not sure what
it's usually paid
it's
leave.
paid, but I'm not sure about when it comes to. I don't know whether they
you
take it out of their
maternity
annual
to
leave.
go and have the baby.
Yes,
and
but
you
you
are
get
paid.
paid.
You
You're
get
paid your
paid.
normal
You get
salary.
paid your normal salary.
salary.
Okay. Then also, as a working mother, sometimes you see some mothers, they say, Monday to Friday, they get up in the morning, get the kids to school, go to work. By the time they get back, they're doing housework. Weekend is completely busy because they're trying to prepare. And I feel they begin to lose themselves. They don't have time to do their hair. They don't have time to look after themselves. And when you ask them, the excuse you get it, I've got 4 children, what time do I have? And I work as well.
Time management.
We took it out of time management.
Time management,
That's
I'm
why
sorry.
a working mother can manage the time of dividing all these chores and still have time to herself. And then the man can come in sometimes, I take care of the home now while you have the time to go and, attend to yourself, have a quiet time, go and pamper yourself. You have to have the understanding of your partner to do that sometimes. But the first and foremost, the woman has to learn to manage her time in order to share equally for all that she needs to do being a working mother.
Mothers, you heard, make time to look beautiful. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're still talking about mothers who go to work. And Bimbo and Aisha and I, we've been talking about whether women should get extra privileges because they're women and they're working. And also, we've been talking about the fact that women should actually make time for themselves. Being a mother doesn't mean you shouldn't be a woman first. We've got Mrs. Lola Esson joining us today to come and talk about working mothers and the challenges that they face. Mrs. Lola Esson.
Welcome. Hi.
Thank you for coming. Take a seat. Welcome to Amazon.
Thank you very much.
Did you come from work?
Apparently, yes.
You're in human resource.
Yes, that's what I do for a living.
So how easy is it?
The question is not easy. I love what I do. So I think that's the real thing. Once you love what you do, then you find the time, you find the energy. So I love what I do.
Okay, you look well packaged, you look beautiful. You've got children?
Yes, I do. I have 2 children.
2 children, young children or?
Very young. I've got 1.5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Wow.
So what time do you get
they're
home?
still very demanding.
What time do you get home from work every day?
Well, put it this way, when I can beat the traffic on the road, it is, I think the earliest will be 8 p.m.
8 p.m. every day?
Yes.
What about your weekends? What's it like?
Well, my weekends are priceless. So if you find me at a wedding, then my God, you must really mean a lot to me.
When do you go back to work after giving birth?
Usually 3 months on the dot, because I tend to take time off early, and then so I go back exactly 3 months after.
So what's the maternity, what's the length of the, how long do you get off?
Okay. Well, I'm lucky. I've had good employers in the time which I've had my 2 children. I had 2 children over 2 years, actually. Okay. And so I took maternity leave the first year and then the next year. However, I was lucky because I got my annual leave in full, and then I got my statutory 3 months. So I get about 4 months. But give or take, I'm back at work when the baby's about 6 weeks, I guess. Obviously, you do 6 weeks before, 6 weeks after. So that's the time in which I get back to work.
How do you divide your time between taking care of these little children and the demands of work?
Well, first thing, I think I'm lucky I have a supportive husband who understands that work is not just bringing money, but it's also important I find myself that way. So for me, it's actually an avenue. Then I have a great family on both sides, extremely supportive. So they understand what it is. So when I can't get at home on time, there's my mom who I can call, or a sister-in-law who's around. So I'm lucky like that. And I have a good support network as well. My nanny is excellent. I also have another one who sort of doubles during the day. So that's like the support framework. So great husband, great family, great support network. So I manage.
Okay, fantastic. You make it sound very easy, and I know it's not easy because I'm a mother myself and I work, and juggling 2 little children together with work. Believe me, it takes the strength of God to be able to do it, as well as being a wife as well. Now, let's move away from the family, the work, okay? You decided that you wanted to work, or did you have to work?
Like
Do you have a choice not to work if you don't want to work?
I believe I do, but like I said, for me, it's not the job, because for me, I actually find myself in the work.
Okay.
So I cannot imagine not working, because for me, it's another opportunity to express myself.
Fantastic.
And I actually find out that my most productive times has been the times after having children, because there's sort of this drive to push, prove to people that, look,
back.
all I did was have a baby. If anything else, I managed my time better. So I think my productivity has actually been better with juggling, because now time is priceless. I don't have too many hours to do leisure things. So when I spend my time doing something, I make sure it's something I'm getting, something that I absolutely have to do. So that's how I manage.
Going to the workplace, okay, because there's something I'm trying to ask you here. I know that you get whether you're a man or a woman, you get annual leave.
Yeah.
Okay, that's normal. Now as a woman, when you get pregnant, you get the maternity leave. In some workplaces, do you get your annual leave, and if you're pregnant, you still get your maternity leave? Or do some employers try to do it in such a way where they deduct your annual leave, they deduct your maternity leave from your annual leave? Because I've heard something like that before.
Unfortunately, that's still the practice in a lot of organizations. So you're sort of made to serve a punishment for deciding to contribute to the future workforce. So
I like that.
it is what it is. Someone needs to have the children who would work tomorrow. So, well, I've been lucky, like I said, both my employers have allowed getting, because of having 2 children, getting time off work, maternity leave, which is statutory, and then annual leave. Also, the policy also backs taking time off work to go for antenatal and stuff like that. So I've been lucky in that regard, but unfortunately, a lot of organizations will tell you once you take maternity leave, then your annual leave is gone.
What about your pay?
Now, again, I've been lucky again, like I said, my pay is untouched. I get everything. But what you also find is some people say, you know what, since you're not coming to work, we take lunch out. We take transport out. So you get maybe your basic, your housing, but no transport, because since you're not going into work.
Being a working mother, what about your relationship with your husband?
The first thing I said was I'm lucky because I have a supportive husband. So he understands that these things would happen. So again, and then the other thing we do is we kind of have like special days and moments.
Okay, so you create time for
Exactly.
yourself.
So it's fixed.
okay.
It doesn't matter what it is. This is our time. The kids, I mean, you know, this
You
is
send
not
them
meant-
off to grandma,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
then, you know,
So we do
candlelight
that.
and dinner.
Exactly. Exactly.
Make more babies. We'll be right back.
I want to know, do you sometimes feel guilty though, that perhaps you don't spend enough time with your children, with your family as a working mother?
I'll be very honest with you, I do. But the way I reconcile it with myself is the fact that for the kind of life I want to give my children, I would have to work. I think for the kind of life I dream for them, I would want them to get used to the idea of a woman working. So they don't go and marry and then, because I have 2 boys. So for me, really, what I do is, again, with them, I have me time. My Sundays is really for the kids. The whole day, we will do the cooking, I will do the bathing, we do the whole playground. When they're awake at night, I mean, sometimes they actually wait up for me to get back. So I would still read a story or sing a bit. So I manage. I guess it's not the quantity, but the quality.
Is it true that mothers who work take out sometimes the resentment of having to work and the stress? Some mothers bring it back home and they take it out on the children, compared to mothers who actually have time to sit at home and actually spend time and bond with the kids. Would you say being a working mother would sort of like shape the kind of mother you are?
I think it does, but the truth is, whether I stay at home mom or a working mother, you're human. There are times when you do carry that resentment. So I think ultimately what is key for anyone who has to work, even a stay-at-home mom, is have a me time. It could be me time, go do something you like. It could be me time in the house. Once you enter there, at that time, everyone knows, leave her alone. So I think that's key, and you can find it. You don't have to travel or something, but I think there's a need for an avenue to let out steam. Whether working, whether stay at home, you have that resentment. It's normal. It's normal.
But you enjoy being a mother and a working mother.
Oh, I wouldn't ask for anything else.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We're taking a short break now, and we'll be back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We're still talking about working mothers, the challenges they face, whether it affects the home, how they handle their children. And we just had a fantastic guest here who is very lucky to have a wonderful husband and good support, and also a fantastic employer as well.
That's, the question you asked last, that you asked Ola, was very, interesting for me, because the thing is, I don't think it's about work or about being a stay-at-home mother. Resentment comes because your life has changed. And sometimes, when we don't manage our time properly, be you just a housewife or a working mother, you will have, a shorter fuse because you're stressed out. And that's what happens. You find some people snapping at the kids, sitting down and crying. It's just that, especially for single mothers, for first mothers. First, which one is it?
First time moms.
Was it new moms or first time? I don't
know
know what.
She said it's first time. No, first time moms are different from new mothers.
Well, first time moms, I mean. Because you can imagine, you have to readjust everything. Lola was saying that there's some trips she could have taken, which would probably have given her a better opportunity at work, promotion. But she says, you know what, I can't do that. I have children, I have a family. So the resentment will be there. But for people who snap at the kids, I think it's time management and first time moms, when you didn't realize that your whole life is going to turn upside down.
I disagree with you, Bimbo, because when it comes to children, I have a friend who said to me that I will never shout at my kids. I will never lose it. I said, okay.
Oh, really?
I'll wait for you, because there's some children that until you actually start barking like a dog, they don't listen.
Oh, no. We're talking about snapping here.
It's snapping, snapping and backing.
Losing it. Losing
snapping
it.
and backing.
Not snapping as you're saying, no, shut up, but losing it.
No, some
people actually beat the children when they don't deserve it.
No, some children would make you beat them.
Can I say something? Snapping, being stressed, snapping is not deliberate. If a woman that is working comes back from work, you've gone through traffic, perhaps you've had a bad day at work, and then you come home to screaming children and, you know, a house that is in chaos and it's not organized. It comes from within you without you meaning it.
Yeah.
You find some mothers, after they've done that, they go back crying. They go back apologizing.
You have
it
to.
was not intentional. But, you know, it's emotion. It's some kind of negative energy that you had to release at that time. But unfortunately, you are doing it at home.
But it's not only working mothers is what I'm saying. It's also women who don't manage. A woman that's at home with the kids that doesn't work, if you don't manage your time properly, you will be stressed.
No, Bimbo, you know what?
You will snap
at
as
the
well.
weekend, on a Saturday, on a Sunday, if I'm not doing anything, I'm relaxing, I'm watching a nice video with
Dolapo,
the
you're
family.
talking about you. You're
Wait.
so organized. Your house is organized. Everything has a time slot. Your driver picks up the children at such a time, or you pick up the children at such a time. By 8 o'clock, your children are in bed. You're organized. That's what I'm saying. Now, check out a different situation. 4 kids. Time management not there. This one is crying, oh, mommy, it's time for me to go to, oh, mommy, I haven't gone to the place. Oh, mommy, lesson teacher has said, oh, you're going to be like, what is this? You will, whether you're working or not, you will lose it. So I think a key ingredient to managing your life, whether you're a working mother or a stay-at-home mother, is to be organized. Be like Dolapo. Sometimes I go to a house, I marvel. Dolapo's children know, they don't tell them. By 8, but they called in on a time for bath. They know by 8 o'clock they're in bed. And this is because they're used to that. It's something that she started with when they were like, it's a routine.
Thank you.
But not all mothers can be like Dolapo. You
have the crazy ones who be like, wait, what? You people sit down for me.
You know what? No, do you know what, Bimbo? It was a choice that I made because when I had my kids, I love myself, and I believe that as a woman, you need to love yourself first. I'm a mother, but there's also me, and these children are going to grow up. And they're going to go. What happens to me if I spend my whole life looking after them? I'm just being honest. So I will be a mother to you. I'll give you all you want. But you know what? I need time for myself. And that's what I imbibed in them from when they were young. So they're very, you know, they know that mommy has time.
So that's a good lesson to take from, it's a key thing.
Me time.
That me time.
Me time.
But you can't enforce me time when the children are already, set in a certain way. Me time has to be from when they are growing up, from when they are young.
Of course, you
so
start
they know.
when they're very, very, very young,
And even
actually.
if you haven't done that and you want to start it now, it's still possible. Children understand. They have brains. You just sit down and you have a conversation with them. You know when mommy shouts all the time? It's because mommy's stressed. And for mommy not to shout at you unnecessarily, mommy needs a little time apart. So that mommy can sit down and think about all the things she needs to do. Children get it.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Mrs. Chigozie Ogbonnaya.
Oh, so cute.
New mom, first mom.
Welcome.
Hi. Nice to see you.
Welcome. Take a seat. Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, you look so cute.
Thank you.
I'm loving this stomach.
Let me ask on behalf of Aisha, are you a first-time mom or a new mom?
Third time mom.
That means you're a new mom.
So a new mom.
According to Aisha, once you've had every new
Once
baby, you're a
again.
new mom.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to Amazon. Thank you so much for taking out time. You're pregnant.
Yes, I am.
Obviously.
Do you work? Are you working right now?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
At this, you're still going to work.
I'm still going to work.
Okay.
First, you know, we've never talked about the pressures of pregnancy on a working mother. How are you coping?
It gets overwhelming sometimes. Really, really overwhelming. But somebody always say if other people's encouragement doesn't move you, the best motivation is the one you give yourself.
So, do you have the understanding of your colleagues at work. I don't want to say how far you are gone. Obviously, you are far gone. But at this point, do you have, like your work reduced, people offering to take off some work off you until you go for the maternity leave?
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's
I
great.
do. Very wonderful people I work with. And like, aside from my regular resumption time, I have like 1 to 2 hours, especially now, that I could, take off to help me to, give me a little space. So, and then I've already, I delegate. I'm actually the head of department where I work.
Okay.
So it's like easier for me to delegate and say, okay, you take over this, and then do more of the supervisory work at this stage now.
Brilliant.
Okay,
So
good. So you, as a woman, you said you're the head of you're head in a department. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you're pregnant. Now, would you give more consideration to a pregnant woman, okay, in comparison to a man? Basically, what I'm trying to ask you is, would you be more lenient with a woman who turns up late because she's pregnant compared to a guy who turns up late because his car broke down?
Well, I'll be more lenient to the woman who is pregnant because I've been there, I understand.
Yeah.
So I know how it feels, battling with hormones and then all the changes going on physically and the brain thing. So I will be more lenient with a woman. Well, maybe I might just consider a guy whose car broke down. Maybe.
Okay, you're working, you have kids.
Yes, I do.
You're pregnant. Are you superwoman? How are you managing this?
Like I said earlier, it really gets overwhelming, very much. But at first, okay, after I had my first baby, because by the time I had my first baby, I wasn't working then. Okay, so there's something the Igbos call oriaku. You are eating your husband's wealth.
Yes.
So I was in the oriaku stage then. So by the time I was having my second baby, I was working. Okay, and it wasn't easy, but I was able to get over it somehow. And my husband was quite supportive.
Your family, his family?
His family was, my family was. I know sometimes I had to keep my baby, my daughter, my first daughter, she's 4 years. I had to keep her with my in-laws to, for them so that I could have a little space. So it's not been easy, but you just have to work around it somehow because, well, it's how will I say, it's a natural
process.
It's a natural process. So it doesn't stop you from being who you should be.
I get it. I think it will stop me. I think I was the person that was screaming my head off actually. Oh my God.
Okay. When you definitely, you're going to take your maternity leave very, very soon. Okay.
Certainly.
How late or when are you allowed to go?
For me, I would want to work until I get, until I'm in labor. Apparently, the idea behind that is so that I can maximize my leave.
3 months.
The 3 months,
Okay,
yes.
so you get 3 months.
Yes,
okay.
I do.
After 3 months, you need to be back at work.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Now, Bimbo was telling me what did you say I was being there when I was talking about milk vouchers? Please, I need to ask you. No, I need to ask you. I need to ask you a question. Okay, now sometimes you never know what's gonna happen after you had your child. You never know. Okay, some children it's very easy to leave some babies and go back to work. Some babies can be very, very clingy and maybe they develop some kind of thing and then you have to stay back home. Would you say as a pregnant mom that you would love it if there were facilities set in place that would allow you to take extra time without you losing out on your paycheck?
Certainly, I would love that very much. I would love that if such facilities are in place. I was once told of, you mentioned UK, and someone told me of Canada where you take you're given 1 year off.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow, that's like heaven. That's heaven, as in 1 year to be with your baby. You know, you don't miss out. Watch them.
You know, because 3
All
months,
the
the babies are
firsts.
so
You're still
young,
missing all the
and then you
firsts.
have to leave them and go back to work. And also remember, you're still breastfeeding during this time. And you know what? Some mothers actually take the espresso to work because, you know, when you get the milk coming out at work, you see some mothers with wet patches on their clothes at work and everything. And I think really for mothers, 3 months is not enough. And I think it's too soon to leave a baby. And I think in the society of today, especially in Nigeria, there should be things the employers are doing, or Aisha is looking at me. There should be things that the employers are doing, or the government should do to allow mothers to spend a little bit extra time with their babies if they want to.
But the businesses have started doing it. She was telling some corporations, organizations have creches in the building.
I was even
They
going
have a
to
little
suggest,
area. No, they have a little area where you go and drop your kids while you're at work. It's the same building, same everything, and they have people to organize and take care of the kids. Some organizations
you
are actually
can't run
doing
in and
that.
out of the creche. It's different from actually Bimbo, a 3-month baby.
I
in a
know what you
creche.
mean, but isn't it better for you to have something like that? Look, the ideal situation is for the government to do something.
I have a different approach. Would it not be proper, or rather, you know, more considerate, easier for a woman who is pregnant until the baby is 1 year old to work from home?
Which company is going to say yes?
If it's the kind of work that you can do from
Who's going
home
to say yes?
To work from home.
and get paid, and the employer will pay them.
Is it feasible in this our economy to work from home? You know, fine. We're in the age of you know, online everything.
Internet,
But
computers.
let's be very realistic. In my country, it doesn't work like that. To work from home, I know I try to, you know, get myself involved in those kind of work from home thing, but it just didn't. I didn't get a breakthrough on it.
Yeah, your employers
I
have
don't
to
mean
see
on
you
your
on a
own.
daily for them to be happy.
No, that's what I'm saying. As in,
clock out.
you know, exactly, and maybe make phone calls to, you know, connect people or something.
Okay.
It just didn't work out. You know, after I had my first baby, in between the first and the second, I know I honestly tried to, because I was then a core member. Okay, so I know I tried to, you know, see if I could do the online thing, you know, try to, but
it still didn't. It didn't.
my
work.
employer was
What
it was so hot on me then, and I just knew I couldn't.
What about care? Care after you've given birth. What about care? You know, we all leave our kids with nannies. Okay? I mean, my upbringing is different from my nanny's upbringing. Now, if I leave a baby from the age of 3 months with a nanny, and the formative years of a child's life is usually between, you know, maybe like 2 to 5, and you leave the child with that nanny from that small age to when they actually get to like 4 or something, when you can have time to they can actually talk to you and tell you things that is happening to them. Do you not think that this child will grow up exhibiting the kind of attitude that the nanny has? Because a child is like a blank, you know, slate.
Yeah.
And what they see, because if a child spends hours, I've seen cases where mothers go out, baby don't cry, but when nanny moves, baby
starts
cries.
to cry, yes.
Because that's another thing we need to take into consideration, don't you think so?
They get very attached to the
To the nannies.
Because that's the person they see day in, day out. You're a stranger that comes and goes. At the end of the day.
It's really you know, it's really pathetic. I mean, it hurts me when I see that kind of situation, that my baby wants
Somebody else.
Somebody
her
else.
caretaker other than myself, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, the guilt comes then. But we can, well, I don't know, the God factor is so very important.
Yes, I guess so.
Personally, I take it, you know, the God factor, and of course grace. So I try to, I'm like, God, this is the situation I find myself. For now, I can't be here all the time, but I trust you to, you know, help me with bringing up this child so that the child doesn't pick bad habits. It's also very important, like somebody mentioned here, like Lola mentioned, she said it's the quality, not the quantity.
Yes.
So in that time, that quality time you spend with the child, you could imbibe your own values into that child.
Of course.
Because for instance, my 4-year-old comes to me because, we have people around, someone who wants to give them sweets. And I'm like, sweets are not good for you.
Wow.
Sweets
Anyway,
are
you
not
did
good
say
for
earlier on, you said you've got a wonderful, you've got wonderful in-laws, you've got a fantastic husband as well, and you have, lovely support around you.
Yes.
So I think you're very lucky, and I wish you
You're in
luck.
good hands.
Yeah, and I hope you have triplets. See you later. We'll be back.
She's not a player with us. Triplets. After she having two, she wants you to have 6 children.
Welcome back. We've been talking about working mothers, challenges that they face. We've talked about if there should be extra facilities, because I keep harping about that, because I think mothers should be given the opportunity to spend at least enough time with their babies before they go back to work. Bimbo doesn't think so.
No, I think
Or
so.
she thinks
but
it's really funny.
I think it's funny for them, for
But
you
I
to
don't
talk
think
about
it's-
vouchers.
I don't
Is the
think
milk,
it's-
the milk
No, it's the
card.
milk card and giving them, look, in an ideal situation.
Every little helps.
Dolappo, you're right. Don't get me wrong. What you're saying is extremely right. It makes absolute sense. But Nigeria, road to drive we never see. We don't have
No,
electricity.
Bimbo, let us have faith in our country.
I
All we
have-
have to do is ask.
I have absolute faith in the people of Nigeria. I believe in this country, but I'm realistic about certain things. We still haven't gotten it right in how many years? When will we start getting it right?
Is a reality.
Ideal
but
situation,
Bimbo, that's
I'm
what
agreeing with you.
Aisha and I are trying to do.
Yes, we're doing our own little bits.
There is nothing wrong with that. I'm sorry. If a country can make provision for mothers to be able to actually spend time with their kids, to help women, especially in terms of child care costs as well, you can get help from the government
It
to
should
help
be.
you as well. And at the same time, you don't have to reduce your standard of living because you're doing something that you should do naturally.
you know the way we work?
What you have said so far makes absolute sense,
but it
no
just doesn't
doubt.
exist.
It's just that it is not practical.
But
Okay,
you know
but
what we
it
could do?
makes
We could get
absolute
pregnant
sense.
women, all of us, we all pretend to be pregnant and march to the governor's office. Or march to the
That's
president.
true. We can do that. Demand for our rights.
We should start insisting on our rights in this
well.
country. No, but that's the truth. It's time for us to stand up and say, you know what, this is what we want. You must do it. We put you there to do it. Do it.
Honestly, because apart from maternity,
Why did you make that sound? After marching down, the governor comes out and greets you all and promises. Does he execute?
Well, we keep marching until they execute. That's the point. Maybe that's
you know what?
we
I would keep saying the same thing. That I strongly believe that, you know what, maternity leave and getting paid because they give you 3 months to go and do something is not enough. I think working mothers, because these women have decided to contribute, financially to support their husband, there should be extra things set in place to actually encourage them to continue to do this. That's why some women, when they have children, some of them don't go back because they can't bear to leave their kids.
Very true.
Audience, what do you think?
Who has a question? Who has a comment?
Okay.
My name is Ambassador Millicent Jack. What I want to contribute is, I think the only way this can be solved or resolved, a better place for the women in the society in Nigeria, is maybe we have somebody like you, or Aisha, or Bimbo, or maybe me as a president of this country. And then I think that because we wear the shoes and then we know where it paints, we'll be able to take it up from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else in the audience have anything to say, sir?
My name is Temitayo Famutimi.
Thank you. You're a man. Working mothers.
Yeah, so much has actually been said about mothers, the role of mothers, taking care of the children, the kids, what pregnant women should have in mind while they are at work, supporting the family and the home front and all that. But little has been said about the man. Is it that men don't have anything to do about the kids, taking care of the pregnant woman? And now this,
Hold on, Bimbo.
now this thing keeps on ringing on in my mind. So at some point in the country, especially managers of companies, specifically NIM and all these management institutes, to talk about paternity leaves at some point. Now, all this noise about paternity leave is no more. What is Amazon doing about it? And of course, as a pregnant woman, what's your idea about this? Are you advocating for paternity leave? Or is it that this argument at the National Assembly should be gone? That's my question.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let me take that. Let me. When you're talking about paternity leave, you know, it's. I mean, I don't. Does that exist in this country?
No, the question is, should it even exist
anywhere?
No. Hold on. No. Aisha. Aisha, no. A father should be allowed time to bond with his child.
I agree.
Dolapo,
I agree.
If the mother goes on maternity leave, the father is out of work.
They don't have to take it at the same time.
Exactly.
They don't have to both go
So
off
in one
work at the
family,
same
hold on,
time.
in one family, you have 3 months, 6 months off work for one family. To take care
Different
of the
companies,
child.
different
No,
employers.
Me, I would rather suggest that the woman's maternity leave is stretched.
2 6 months.
No, you know what? Where we know, you know what? We can debate this. They're still debating it in the House of Assembly anyway. So
No,
we
we're
can
offering
go.
our
We
opinion
can,
here.
we can,
When
we
we
can
talk about
debate
paternity
that, you
leave,
know.
we'll discuss it. Temitayo, today the discussion is about working mothers. We talk about everything and anything, but today we're talking about working mothers. It's not like we've forgotten the men or we've left the men out, but we're talking about working mothers today. We're particular about everybody in Nigeria, not just women.
And to buttress what Bimbo said, I do understand where you're coming from. I know that, you know, as a man as well, obviously you want to be heard. You know, you believe that you should have a say as well, especially because you know what? Who is the husband of the working mother? The man. He gets neglected as well because a tired woman looking after children or a pregnant woman really honestly doesn't have as much time for her husband like she would probably do, you know, if she doesn't have children. So I do understand that. But like Bimbo said, we are talking about working mothers here. And the reason why we're harping on and on about working mothers is women are the ones who carry these babies. Women are the ones who leave their children at home in the hands of total stranger. I don't care how long a nanny has been living with you. They will remain a stranger till the day they leave your house. So to actually leave your child in the hands of these strangers and go off, the risk they take and everything, and still trying to come back and still perform their role as a mother, as a wife, and also having to put up a nice man and having crazy bosses sometimes to deal with. It is a lot. So it's not like we're undermining the men or trying to invalidate their feelings in any way. It's just about, you know what, we believe that they have to give up more and they have to deal with more. And we think we need to sit down and begin to look for ways in which to encourage them to deal with these challenges. That's what this is about. Okay? Welcome back. We've been talking about working mothers, challenges they face, the issues that come up with it, the sacrifices that they make. Aisha, I don't know. Don't you think the government should really give these milk vouchers?
I know milk vouchers.
Milk vouchers, I don't know about that. But I think the
Support.
working mothers need more support than they are getting now, both from the workplace, from pre-pregnancy, post-pregnancy. They do need more than the 3 months they are getting. Forget about me saying they don't need, you know, their pay cuts and the allowances they get during the period while they are off work should be minimized. They should have the total package. Because first and foremost, the reason they are working is to support the family. So whether they are out of work, going to prepare for a child should not be undermined. They are still doing the work. They are just taking time off work. That is my position.
To increase the workforce, like she said. because the children are the workforce of tomorrow.
And they contribute to the development of the economy as well.
Yes, they do. Yeah, what I've learned today is that time management is key for working mothers. As a working mother, you must understand and know how to manage your time. Weekend, which is Saturday, Sunday, is family time. Half of that, maybe 2 hours of Saturday, 2 hours of Sunday, me time, so that you're refreshed and you're able to deal with your children. And also, fathers, it's not just mothers that raise the children. It's a combination of, it's from both parents. There are things that, you know what, the children learn from us. They look up to us and they want to learn what daddy does, what mommy does. So it's time for daddy to also be a part. For those fathers out there who are not a part of their children's lives, it's important for you to support your wife, especially if she's supporting you financially.
You very old. We've had a pregnant woman here. We've had a working mother here. And I believe that if 5 women can sit over tea and start the Women's Rights Convention in 1848, it can be done. And I think what we just have to do is what we're doing now. It doesn't matter where you are. Get yourselves together. Think of the things that affect you personally. Find a way to go out there and ask for things that will make your life easier. You know, as a mother, it's difficult enough to be a mother and also be a wife, a friend, a sister. Talk less of having to go out there and work as hard as a man to also contribute towards the your financial situation in your homes as well. So working mothers, and don't forget one thing, working mothers, be a mother, but remember, you still need to make time for yourself. Till next time, thank you for watching.